Hi everyone, welcome to our July meeting, Practical Applications of Cues, or as I like to call it, Living It. In these unprecedented times, we have had to be more creative with helping our future guide and service pups advance in their training. We have been mainly at home since mid-March, which is quite a few months. And while we know many raisers were motivated in the beginning to find innovative ways to work with their pups, we also recognize that many are now feeling burned out and confused about how they can continue helping their pups while mostly remaining in their homes. The great thing here is that there really are many ways to continue developing your puppy skills even within your home. While at home, you might occasionally remember to practice some obedience, or you might even have a scheduled obedience lesson. But today's meeting is going to show you how to live it with your obedience. And what we mean by this is utilizing your dog's behaviors around the home to help generalize and proof these behaviors in different scenarios. By using your pup's obedience skills in these various scenarios, around your home and even maybe within your neighborhood, you can help your pup to generalize. What do we mean by the word generalize? Well, in dog training, we use this word to mean that your pup can apply a concept to many situations. Many raisers might come to a meeting or a walk and talk and say, he does this at home with no problem. Of course, we and your ACs, we completely expect this when working with dog training. Instead, we need to teach your pup that sit means to sit at home, sit in the yard, sit for a food bowl, sit to exit a door, sit in the middle of a sidewalk, during a walk, etc. And it also means to sit in all those situations with a variety of distractions occurring. They could be natural ones like a squirrel running up a tree or during a walk, or maybe ones that you create on your own, like emptying the dishwasher at home and splitting that attention away from the dog. Because dogs do not generalize as well as humans do, sometimes this makes it hard for us to remember and understand what a dog is going through when we ask for a behavior that they seem to know, but maybe in a situation which with they're unfamiliar. As soon as possible with your pup, you will want to begin helping your pup to generalize any of his behaviors. This can begin as soon as the pup has the behavior on a cue. So probably hands and verbal, most likely in the beginning. By working on generalizing, you're actually teaching your dog how to learn. You will notice that they begin generalizing more quickly with more and more practice and as they get older because they are learning to learn. Some tips for generalizing are allowing your pup to take in their environment when you go to a new place. So just give them a moment to settle. Don't ask for and expect the pup to do the cue immediately upon entering a new place. That's oftentimes when you're going to find that the pup seems, as some people like to say, stubborn. We don't like to use that word in dog training because it's a human trait. But give the dog some time to really settle into that new environment. Also, you want to lower your criteria when asking for the behavior in a new or more distracting location. So you can read more about this concept within our Puppy Raiser manual about the section called Box of Acceptable Behaviors. But essentially, you're going to not have the same high expectations you might have for a pup performing a behavior at home that you do when you're out and about. So you might want to lower those expectations a little. Also, you want to use a higher rate of reinforcement. You'll hear us talk about that often. And sometimes you want to use a higher value reward as well. So shortly, we are going to watch some video clips from all of the regional managers. We put together a whole day of practically applying our cues with our dogs and using them in situations that go with our regular lifestyle. This is just a sampling of various ways to use your pup's cues and skills. Some of these might fit into your own routine or your schedule, and some others may not. That's totally fine. We're not saying you have to do all of these, and you might find various ways to do the same task, but with a different behavior. These are just to help give you ideas about the variety of ways you can integrate your pup's cues into your daily life and routine. All of the regional managers are in the comments now, so you can feel free to ask some questions during the video. However, please hold most until the end when I will actually be live and answering some of your questions and comments during the broadcast towards the end. Thanks. seen a variety of ways to utilize your pup's skills at home and throughout the day via our fun little video we put together for you. I briefly wanted to touch on the word proofing behaviors and what that means. While generalizing is what your pup needs to learn, so like that's what your pup is doing, they're generalizing. You as the raiser, you're going to be doing the proofing by working the cues in various scenarios and making sure your dog really knows that. And a lot of times what we're gonna say is you're gonna use those 3 Ds: distance, distraction, and duration. So once you believe your pup has mastered a cue, I want you to ask yourself, can I confidently assert, quote, this dog knows this behavior? I really want you to think about that. Many behaviors take thousands, yes, thousands of repetitions before they are sufficiently generalized by the dog and proofed by the handler. Truly, the number of repetitions is not specific for each dog or behavior. Instead, you will want to determine if your pup has generalized the cue by building in the 3 Ds. Distance means that your pup can not only perform the cue directly beside you, but from any distance. Duration typically means that your pup can perform the cue with varying degrees of time without popping back up immediately out of their sit or their down, etc. Distraction means that your pup is able to perform the cue even with a variety of distractions nearby. So remember, each pup is individual, and some pups might find another dog walking by very distracting. Some of our pups are much more social with people and might find people to be more distracting. Some might find something blowing by like leaves could be very distracting. Again, doesn't matter what, if your pup finds this one over this one distracting, you want to do a variety of distractions. And we always recommend that if one of the 3 Ds is difficult, then you're going to make the other 2 easier to have a successful repetition. For example, if another dog is walking by, which is a big distraction for most of our pups, then you're going to want to increase your distance, so you're gonna make it easier away from the distraction, and you're not going to want to expect a long duration for the requested behavior. Other proofing criteria includes precision and the speed in which the pup executes the cue. So, you'll even see sometimes, I'll ask Eve to do something and I'll have to really wait her out sometimes a good 5 seconds before she finally does it. And then sometimes I have to repeat it a second time after giving her several seconds. So, not all of her behaviors are 100% proofed. She's still, even though she's over IFT age, she is still young and there's lots of time. So same thing with your pups. All right, I'm going to introduce a fun new game to play in your house, in addition to everything that we just watched on our video, to give you some visual reminders of how to run cues in your house, mixing them up with some of the 3 Ds, and just to help with both generalizing for your pup and proofing. All right, so we're gonna talk about an additional game you can play in your house with your pups that will just help work on generalizing and proofing your behaviors and your cues, but also be just something that, and also you can add the 3 Ds in there into this as well, and this will be just a visual way for you to work on it. So what I have done is I have put sticky notes around my house with different sets of cues on them. Some of them even have, and I know this is backwards, some of them even have distance. So this one says sit, stay 6 to 8 feet. All right, and I'll show you a video in just a second of me using them. But what I did was I walked around my house and I looked for them, and as I came across them, Eve was usually nearby, and so we would practice whatever it said on the little sticky note. And it would be with like some sort of task as well that I was doing. So you'll see, I believe this one is from my fridge. So we did a sit stay from 6 to 8 feet away while I opened the fridge. So now every time I go to the fridge today or the freezer, I'm gonna ask Eve if she's nearby and not sleeping somewhere. I'm gonna ask her to do a sit stay from 6 to 8 feet away. This is also really great for your family members. If you have multiple family members in the house and they're also helping work with the dog, you can put these up around the house and everybody knows what different cues they're gonna be asking the dog that day, what distance they're gonna be doing, what duration, etc. So you can reuse these if you want. You can reuse the same ones and just switch them up around your house, or you can make new ones. So let's say initially a baby puppy might be a fairly young puppy, I should say, should be like sit, stay, maybe just 2 feet away. And eventually a dog that's like Eve, who is past IFT age, is gonna be something a lot more like 6 to 8 feet away. Honestly, I can't do much more than that without leaving the room because my kitchen is not very large. So you definitely want to, you know, these are definitely good for visual people or people who just, you know, just need more of a reminder about, hey, how can I mix this up and not feel like I'm doing the same thing every single day, every single time. So just another little game. I'm going to show you guys a few videos now of me using my little sticky notes around my house. Thanks. All right, so the first one here is sit, stay from 6 to 8 feet on my fridge here, my freezer. So Eve is going to, I'm gonna ask her to do a sit and a stay from a few feet away. Eve, let's go. All right, come here, Eve. Sit. Good girl, stay. Good girl. Nice job. So I'm over here. I am now opening my freezer up, pretending to get something out. Good. All right. My pup is staying where she's supposed to, so she gets a treat for that. Good girl, Evie. Break. This is the door to our back room, which eventually leads to our living room, and our commands are heel and down. So Eve, heel. Good girl. Down. Yes. Nice job. All right. Good girl. And now we will go outside. Break. There we go. It says down, stay 4 to 6 feet away, and it is in front of our food bowl, which means that that's what we'll be doing here. Since I only have one hand while videotaping, I'm gonna just bring the bowl over here and just put a few kibbles in it. I'm gonna bring it over here so I have more room. Eve, down. Eve, down. Good girl, stay. All right, I'm just moving this over. Stay. Break. Good girl. On our microwave. So whenever I'm over here by the microwave or by the oven, I'm gonna actually ask Eve, Eve, come here. Sit. Good girl, down. Good, nice job. I'm just gonna open this microwave and pretend that I'm putting some in there right now. Good girl. Break. One is stand, and this actually goes into our bedroom, which we know the dogs love following us into every room that we go into. So every time I go into my bedroom today, I'm going to ask Eve for a stand. Eve, come here. Eve, sit. Good girl. Eve, stand. I think she needs a little more room. Yes, good girl. Good job. All right, now we're gonna go into the room. All right, everybody. So I am live, and what you are seeing should be the original title slide based on the software that I used for us to use to stream a video. I personally couldn't figure out how to get the actual video to work, so I am live now, though, via my microphone. There's a little bit of a lag, so I'm just going to start out with a couple of things here before I start answering a lot of questions in the comments here. So the first thing is that we'll just start with a little bit of a kind of hands-on exercise for anybody who wants to play with in the comments. So one cue that we did not use in our videos was close. Thinking creatively, how could you use close in your house doing some sort of everyday task? All right, so the first question I'm going to answer is one that was asked earlier. So Loretta asked about whether or not the fact that a lot of the dogs were not on leash in house, and um, was that okay to practice obedience in your house without a leash on? Yes, it's definitely okay. Obviously, in your house or in your yard that's fenced in, anywhere that you can have your dog off leash, you can definitely practice obedience without your leash on. This does help with what we were talking about earlier, which is generalizing and proofing, so that your dog knows that so that your dog knows. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Uh, so generalizing and improving the behavior so that your dog knows that it's not just with the leash on, but it's at any time. Additionally, I know many raisers will not always have their um, they won't always have their collars on in the house because they have lots of pups that maybe play hard with each other and that sort of thing, or they just want to give their dogs a break too. So another time that you don't necessarily want to have your leash on your dog. I see that Patty suggested we could use close at home while you're watching TV, and using time frames with commercials. So that's a really great one. We did talk about building up the 3Ds, and one of those is duration. So using close for your dogs at home, you may not want to do it for a whole 30-minute long sitcom, but instead you're going to maybe use one commercial. And for the next week, you're going to try to build up your duration for just one commercial. And then maybe as time goes on, you can get 2 commercials in. But you're looking for your dog to hold that close position. And if they can't do one commercial just yet, then that's fine. You just, count for 10 seconds maybe. Maybe practice though every time the commercials come on so that you get several repetitions in during the time that you're working with your dog and just watching TV. Sarah asked about the dishwasher, about what do I do? Like my dog gets up with the dishwasher, and I'm paraphrasing, I think what she wrote, but can be like, she can't stay with opening it because she'll just try to keep getting up. That's really a common thing. We have lots of pups that like to walk up to open dishwashers and lick the dishes. So we're going to go back to really breaking this down. So in this situation, the opening of the dishwasher and the trays of dishes being pulled out is actually the distraction. So 3Ds, that's actually the distraction. So initially, maybe Sarah with her pup Jasmine is going to have her do a down stay from 6 to 8 feet away or from a distance away, and just walk to the dishwasher and walk back, and then reward and release. And maybe the next day or a couple days later, she's going to do the same thing, but this time she's just going to sort of crack open the dishwasher and then close it and then walk back to her pup. And you're going to keep going and going until you can get the dishwasher completely open. So let's see what else we have here. Yep, and Diane also said close for a short session while brushing dog's teeth as well. So yeah, definitely can, if your pup is comfortable with having their teeth brushed in the close position, you can also use that commercial time to do brushing teeth in the close position. Would you include your pet dogs that follow you and the pup around for the sticky game? That's from Julie. Julie, it's up to you. I know personally in my house, if my labs follow me around, if I'm doing with one lab, most likely both labs are going to follow me. And you can definitely put up sticky notes that are things that you could have both pups do. You did see in the video that sometimes some of us had maybe a pet dog. I remember specifically the video of Laura, I think doing place in the kitchen while she made lunch. She had 2 of her dogs in there. So I think it would just depend on what the command was or the cues were for that. And then Diane also said using your cues during commercials for TV. So TV could get a lot of things, guys. You guys could get a lot of little behaviors in there. And I know that most of the RMs, we have talked about the fact that we've done a lot of walk and talks since we've been able to get back meeting with people. And I know that a lot of people are worried that my dog isn't getting enough socialization and enough practice doing things And we're hoping that this is showing you that you can actually do quite a bit within your house. All right, let's see. Okay. Ruth asked, after having the dog stay when you go to the fridge a number of times, is the goal that the dog will do this automatically at some point in the future without being asked? That is a great question, Ruth. In this situation, what you're actually doing is, I like saying you're creating a thinking dog and not a robot dog. So we don't want the dogs to ever have any, for the most part, there's not going to be very many times, but we're going to expect a dog to automatically offer behaviors as soon as we approach something. Anything like that mostly is going to be taught within guide dog work if that's the case. But I would say with like the fridge, going to the fridge, I would actually change up my sticky notes if I'm doing the sticky notes. I would actually change up my sticky notes every day or every other day just so it would be something different. It just helps the dog, this little game just helps the dog sort of learn to work with you and really listen to your what you're asking. And I know that Colleen asked me on my troubleshooting session the other day with my groups about her dogs doing automatic switches at doors. So this is just adding to that of we want the dogs to listen to us and to wait for those cues. So Colleen asks, speaking of Colleen, my dog is 17 months, so she does these skills easily. I don't food treat for these. I say that for high distractions. Is that okay? Yes, I would definitely use a lot of praise though. All of our dogs, hopefully by the time they're IFT age, they're going to be using very minimal treat rewards. So that's totally fine. You can, if you feel that your dog can definitely handle this within your home, just remember that sometimes some of these behaviors, when you add something in, like for example, opening a fridge door, opening a dishwasher, you are adding an additional distraction. So you will want to assess whether or not you might want to introduce some treats initially with some that have distractions and then gradually use less and less treat rewards in your home for some of these behaviors. Patricia said, I do my chair squats while Robin isn't close. That's a great one. Close when sitting and folding clothes. Oh, that's another one we didn't do at all was any cues while sitting. We didn't do a lot of those, like so asking your dog to sit while you're sitting on a chair, asking your dog to down while you're sitting on a chair. The act of you sitting down for many of our dogs is just almost another distraction. It's just a different way that you're in a different position with your body. Close while working at a desk. Ellen asked, is cue the new name for command? We have been talking a lot about this, and we do prefer the word cue over command. Cue just sounds more like we're working together versus command sounds very, So I'm sure we'll bring out more about that later. Let's see. Close can be done while you sit to put on your shoes. You could definitely do that. That might be a little tricky if you're trying to I think you'd have to have your shoes maybe up on beside you versus like bending over them. That might be hard depending on how tall your dog is. While retrieving the mail, I assume this is from Brody, SCGD, so I'm not sure who the raiser is, but I'm guessing that's their dog. While retrieving the mail, I assume the stand command is a safety issue due to dog handler are in the street. Yes. So it's up to you. It depends on your mailbox. You might have a mailbox that is safer to do this. My mailbox actually opens from the back, so I can technically do any command without having to worry, or any cue without having to worry about traffic. But I wanted to make it a little realistic because I know most people do not have a mailbox that opens from the back. If you watch the video, you will see that I definitely check the street both ways and make sure that I don't see any cars coming. So I probably would not do a down in the street at all. Doing a stand is really easy. If there was something that happened, you could quickly get your dog. The dog doesn't have to get up. They can quickly get out of the way. Paula Sedita said she likes to use the dishwasher. I like to use place and stay, which is a good one. If they were dragging a leash, could you impulse control to work through the licking the dirty dishes? I guess you could probably do that. I do think that like in the house, just because it's like a normal everyday thing, I do think that it's a good one to practice like duration of stay. If you don't want to practice, I'm trying to think. I think it would be just hard. I think it would be easier to do impulse control work with the dirty dishes as long as maybe you had somebody else helping you work the dishwasher, so you weren't trying to hold your dog back and work the dishwasher open and closed and sliding the drawers out. So I think I would just recommend that most likely. Um, Ditto and Brody's question is Stan preferred at mailbox. Again, that was just more of a that was the cue that I picked for that particular video. Let's see here. Is place always done on a particular pad, or do you move that pad from one area to the other or use other pads? That's from Judy, and that's a great question. You actually do both. So if you're working on, I would recommend either doing one or the other though. So either pick one location, say you're, by your dining table, and always use the same mat and get your dog really good with place on that one mat. And then when they're really good with that, then start changing up the mat, but keep it by your dining table. Then once they're really good with that, so you're sort of, the distraction there is the different mats, then I would probably move to taking the original mat that you used and moving that around the house. So again, helping your dog generalize that it means any mat in any location, as long as I've told you that this is the mat that we're going to use. Okay. And someone said they can't see the video. Yes, Lynn, I think you came in late. There is no video right now. It's just microphone only. The video was earlier. All right, let's see. All right, so looks like I'm pretty much at the end of the questions here. So again, just touching a couple of things that we talked about within the lecture part of the video, so to speak. When you are building duration around cues, during cues around the house, you're still going to gradually move distance away, and splitting attention is a distraction. So when you're in your house and you're loading your dishwasher, you're splitting your attention in terms of, you're removing items from the sink and putting them in the dishwasher, but you're also having to watch your dog. So just splitting attention is a distraction to your dog. And many of you guys will notice that when you are talking on your phone. So yeah, that's always a good one to practice too, is to pretend that you're talking on your phone, even if you're not, to just see what your pup is doing, like on a walk and that sort of thing, because they definitely notice when you are kind of not paying attention. It's kind of a distraction for them that you're acting a little different. All right. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. Okay, so we hope that you really enjoyed this evening's online meeting. And we hope that you got some ideas for how you can continue to help your pups within your house while we continue waiting out and fighting out this pandemic. There are plenty of ways to definitely work on things in your house. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask your RMs. Thank you so much and have a good evening.